to this week's episode of Rebel City Podcast. This week's episode is an extraordinary gentleman called Michael Byrne. Michael runs a blog and a social media platform called Poems from a Mod. I'm going to do a lot of this, let it speak for itself. Actually, I think that Michael's an incredible guy, and I'm thanking him again for coming in and telling us his story, his experiences with PTSD, some of his life experiences and the recovery and how he's done that. So I'm going to let him speak for himself, but as the new tradition is, sponsoring the podcast with a positive mental health action. Been thinking about what I wanted this week's to be, and it's something that I've been having to work really hard on the last sort of 7 to 14 days, and that's positive thinking. So I know that there's a lot of people out there that you might just get told to change your mindset, which is the winner's mindset, or mindset's a bit of a buzzword. But I've found that actually the practice of positive thinking has real effects and real benefits for people that struggle with their mental health. I'll tell you a couple of the things that I do is that I write down some positive affirmations about myself. I try and find the positive in my day, so at the approaching the end of every day, I will write down 5 things that I've enjoyed that day. And I suppose this is about finding joy and finding positivity in everyday life. No matter how rich, how famous, or how amazing you think your life is, or could be, with more money, bigger house, bigger car, better job. After a while, it all becomes mundane if you don't see the joy, see the positivity in your everyday life, which we all have plenty of, to be reminding ourselves. Other things that I do is change the way that I'm thinking. So if I'm feeling negative, which I do often, and I'm thinking negatively about aspects in my life or aspects of my day or tasks that I need to do, I have a quiet word with myself internally. I don't argue, I don't resist. I just tell myself that I'm not going to think like that, and that I want to think positively, and what would that look like, and talk it out. Then what I'll do is I'll reflect on why I've been feeling negative and why I've had to give myself that push, and I'll maybe journal about it. So positive thinking is this week's sponsor of the podcast, and I really hope that you listen to Michael's story, and thank you again to Michael for coming in and telling us this emotional story, which I absolutely, he's my hero for coming in and doing that. So from me and Matt, thank you, Michael, and I hope you enjoy this week's podcast. Fire away, mate.
Cool. So, hi and welcome to this week's episode of the Rebel City Podcast. This week we're extremely lucky to have Michael Byrne, who is the author of Poems from a Mod. You are writing this as a means to kind of express your experience around sort of CPTSD. Wasn't it a term I was instantly sort of familiar with, so I don't know if maybe that's a good place for us to start off.
I don't have a clue what that is either, if I'm being honest. Not PTSD is, but CPTSD, no idea.
It's a bit of a mouthful. So basically it stands for Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. So the PTSD part's just the same, but the complex part of it basically means that it has derived from childhood, or there have been multiple events.
All right.
And in my life there have been multiple events that have led to me being diagnosed with complex PTSD. So for instance, had I just been in the Clutha disaster, and it was a singular incident, I would have been diagnosed as having PTSD, which I was, because I never told them about anything else that happened in my life. But because a lot of other things have happened in my life, and when I got seriously counselled and diagnosed, they realised that it was complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's basically a combination of all of the traumatic events in my life, which led me to a diagnosis of being diagnosed in June of this year of complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So the C just means complex, and it just means it's multiple.
Yeah.
In some other instances, it can also mean starting from childhood abuse. So both of them are relevant for me because I was abused as a child as well. So so whatever context, I fit into both categories.
So do you think the Clutha, was that like a trigger?
Well, no, not really. The Clutha is just a part of it. I'll give you a brief summary of some of the traumatic events that I've been through. If
you're comfortable doing that.
If we're all comfortable with that. Some of it might be slightly uncomfortable. But basically, as a child up until I was 16, I was a victim of abuse within the household by both my mother and father. And that abuse was verbal, physical and emotional abuse. And I witnessed quite a few horrific things. I witnessed my mum stabbing my father, which isn't a stereotypical thing. Normally it would be the other way around. But I witnessed my mother stab my father in the head. And a few years later, I also witnessed her hit my father with a pot and hospitalise him. Wow. And the kind of end of that, when I was 16, I came home from work and discovered my father strangling my mother. So I pulled him off. We then got into a bit of an altercation, as you can imagine. And the one and only time I'd ever hit him is then in retaliation. And that started a kind of demise of any relationship I had with my family at that point in time. So it was a pretty difficult childhood, and there are people who've had worse childhoods, so it's not in any way a competition in any way, but that was the start of it. And what I've subsequently learned a lot during, finding out about CPTSD is that what I simply didn't know was that what happens in your childhood kind of sets the tone for what happens in your adult life. And I know it sounds really simple now, but I never knew, I never realised that until I got my diagnosis. So, they say that you have, fight, flight, fawn and freeze, but when you're subject to childhood abuse, your Fs don't materialise well enough. You overcompensate in one because your fear is prominent because you think you're going to get shit kicked out all the time. You're going to be abused. You're going to be told you're a worthless piece of shit, So you do everything you can to avoid having that abuse. So
of course,
you end up maturing in a way that people who don't suffer that abuse, I don't know what normal is, but they
have a more rounded
experience. That's exactly it, Matt. So I ended up, overcompensating in some areas of my life by trying to throw myself into play football. My mommy would always say, "You're always up playing football," and I'm saying, and I would think to myself, because I don't want to be in the house getting the doing, but she would just think, "You love playing football." So that was childhood abuse, and when I was 16, I started working. Pretty much left the house as quickly as I could. That
a familiar story for a lot of people at that age.
Witnessing my father doing that and getting into an altercation, and trying to stand on my own 2 feet at that age, difficult, because you have to pay your rent, you have to do all those things,
Especially if you're dealing with some sort of unconscious trauma as well, if you've got this sort of fear, like underlying sort of anxiety of like potentially harm against yourself.
To this day, the fear is a major thing for me. That's the one continual thing. That I have to self-manage that. I'm on antidepressants just now and stuff like that, but I've self-taught myself a lot of things through my diagnosis. But when I was 16 anyway, I left the house and then just kind of meandered back to the house after when things weren't working out, and that wasn't really great either. But sorted things out with my old man, and you try and stay in the same house, you try and do things as best you can. So I got to 24 and got married, which looking back was too young, but it was a catalyst to get out of the house, get away from stuff like that.
Aye, try to build yourself the steady home life that you've not had as a kid as soon as possible.
And the one thing that they always say now is that when you get into an adult relationship, you tend to replicate what's happened to you as a child.
Okay.
And I did, unknown to me as well at that time. I married a girl that I was in love with and all of that, but she turned out to be a spousal abuser.
Okay.
And which again is pretty rare for a man to be subject to physical abuse by his partner. And it was something that you never admitted back then. That was in 1994. I got married, so different generation.
Of course, it would have been almost emasculating to admit that you were the victim of domestic abuse as a male back in the 90s. Definitely.
Days I'd go into work and I'd have scratches on my face and all that sort of stuff, and you'd playing football, you'd be making up umpteen excuses. But you know, when it's other way around, most females would know that, you know, if a female's coming into work repeatedly with marks on them and stuff like that, you'd think something.
You wouldn't expect another guy to look at you and go, wait a minute.
Your
You know
missus
what I mean?
been-
You would go, I fell. You would go, all right, cool.
Going to work with black eyes and I'd be saying, I go to the football on Saturday and, you know, playing football and elbowing. Because it's embarrassing, you know, or it was embarrassing, not now. But so anyway, that was 1994 and was going through that. And then in 1996, on Burns Day, on 25th of January 1996, my father was murdered. Which, it was Burns night, I'd been out for a couple of drinks, got a phone call from the cops. Back then, you didn't have mobile phones and all that, so I got home and my wife at the time said, the police are looking for you. So you kind of think, fuck have I done?
Aye, of course.
Sorry, I've been that drunk, you know, but instant sobriety, phoned them and they said, look, you kind of need to get down here. So turned out that he'd been he stayed in the flat in the Gorbals, where I kind of grew up and stuff, and he'd been drinking with this guy, falling asleep on the couch, woke up and the guy was stealing his telly. And I kind of make a joke about it, you know, because back then tellies were, you had to be a bodybuilder or a weightlifter to remove your telly back then. It's not like, you know, the way it is now. My old man woke up, and my old man was maybe about 5.5 feet, wasn't he a tall man, it wasn't a bear or that, and the guy beat him to death. Turns out that the guy was an ex-army boxer. So that was hard, you know. That was a Thursday night, and I went to work on the Friday morning, and I worked in the Gorbals. So, but that's the start of the demise. That's the start of a learned pattern. When something goes wrong, you get back into work the next day, or you do something to, you know, it's the playing football when you're a kid. It's no, I don't know how to deal with this, so I'll go to my work. And I had to leave work at lunchtime and go and identify his body at the morgue. But just, I continued on, just trying to put a brave face on it, as we kind of spoke about earlier. And so anyway, the murder hunt ensued, and cops come for you and fingerprint you and all of that stuff. And so anyway, it turned out to go to the guy, and the guy just stayed half a mile away, and then they had the trial and all the other stuff, and so on.
That's a really lengthy process.
Aye, it was 6 months, I think, but to be honest, to this day, Matt, it feels like the blink of an eye. I don't remember much yet.
Yeah.
I remember the phone call to say my dad had been murdered, and I remember the trial. I remember bits in between, but
Okay.
I don't remember.
It's like the emotional bubble
Aye.
that you go into.
I just went into myself. I remember knowing that my personality changed. I couldn't look people in the eye. I felt really embarrassed. I felt that you knew, so if you knew, I almost had to overcompensate again and say, oh no, it's all right, it's fine, you know, you don't need to be uncomfortable around me. I could feel my personality and persona change again, you know, because I'm not embarrassed about what's happened, but I'm almost embarrassed for the person talking to me, as if they know, they don't know what to say to me, and but things were going on. So I just threw myself into my work again. I was working in the Gorbals, so you have the stigma, you have all of that, close community knowing what was going on, rumours were abound and all of that stuff, you know. And anyway, the guy got jailed. I think he got like 14 years or something like that. On the first day of the trial, he pled guilty to culpable homicide, rather than pleading guilty leading up to it. And the judge had said that the injuries by my father were comparable to being hit by a bus. The only bit of his body that wasn't bruised was the soles of his feet. But there's just, you know, it happened, and again, as I said, that learned pattern in childhood just continued on.
I mean, I don't have any idea how I would cope with any of that, to be honest. We never mind all of that.
Back then, you never had organisations like, you know, you have now. So that was then, and you know, I very quickly became hard to live with.
Okay.
My marriage was hitting the rocks because I didn't know how to deal with it. You know, I had mates and all that sort of stuff, but I never spoke about it. I didn't want to speak about it. I didn't know how to speak about it. And I didn't want to put it on my mates either, you know, because it's one of those things, unless you've experienced it, how can you help the person? And I mean that with the greatest respect, you know. So I just buried it. And then, you know, within a couple of years, you know, pretty much found myself separated and stuff like that, you know. And I don't blame Emily for that. It wasn't her fault, it was me. I know it was me, and just, I should have got help. I could have done a lot of things, but me dealing with that, plus the spousal abuse, was just, and I was going to say, I knew one of two things would have happened had I stayed in the house. Would I would have ended up in the jail, or I would have ended up in the hospital, because I would have retaliated And back then, you were a bloke, nobody believed that,
Yeah.
you know, it was...
You couldn't go to a police station and say
Aye,
she
of
started
course.
that.
I mean,
no,
they'd
and-
probably laughed you at the police station if you had
Absolutely.
said, like, she was abusing me type
Aye,
thing.
and I thought I would have snapped. Or equally, if that hadn't happened, I would have ended up being hospitalised. Things would have went too far. And so I left the house and I left, you know, with nothing pretty much. But it was just better to rebuild than...
Yeah.
And then just the loneliness kicks in, you know. You've then got a lot of time to think about things, but I still felt in a better place. The next traumatic event was just a few years later. I met a girl and fell in love, loved her to bits. We were in a relationship. She became pregnant and I was over the moon. I thought I was going to be a father and terrified but happy, you know. And you know, a relationship, we struggled a wee bit in the relationship. She had an ex-partner in the background with a wee boy, and you know, just things were a bit difficult. And I
Yeah.
don't blame the girl, you know. And then I got a phone call out of the blue one Sunday morning to say that she'd had a miscarriage and lost the twins. And that was a big trigger back then, you know. That was maybe 2003 or something. I know
Okay.
it seems like a big gap, but it's a blink of an eye.
Aye,
And,
definitely.
No, absolutely.
You know, it's just a timeline almost. So, and that was my lowest point. You know, everyone, you know, whenever I say that, people think, but how could that be? Because you've had your father been murdered. But everyone treats it as an individual event.
Yeah.
Nobody realises that it's a compound effect
Yeah.
because it's three massive things that have happened.
Yeah.
At that
Points on a
point,
graph.
you think, and I you know, hit the drink. I did everything. You know, I found myself in situations that you just wouldn't want to find yourself in. But I didn't care. I had self-loathing. I just didn't want to be here. I just thought,
The kind of risky behaviour that we spoke about in previous episodes with guys like Dan and that.
absolutely. I mean, I know why now, but at the time I just thought, I don't know. I didn't even think I don't know how to deal with this. I just thought, I'll just go to Swallowing. I'll go for a
This
drink
is what I'm
into
doing
Glasgow
now.
City Centre.
Aye.
I'm living in a moment. I don't want to feel that pain ever again. So, and I didn't know how to deal with it. As I said back, I know it's only 15 years ago, but they're one of the early groups plus you're a man, and you think
Things have
what
changed
day
so
is,
much,
you know?
haven't they?
Aye,
It's-
I love the way it is now, you know, and hopefully with me doing my bit, it could maybe help people. So that in itself, you know, a traumatic event, and you know, we were helping my mate, close mate, he kind of dug me out of that hole, and I got myself together. And the interesting thing, my career was flying. I was
Yeah.
turning up for work every day, and I know that other guys, Dan in particular, say, you know, that suit of armour you stick on your shirt, tie, suit, whatever it is that you wear to your uniform to work or whatever. And I was turning up for work every day. My performance was through the roof in work because I could control the environment that I was in. I knew how to behave. But as soon as I was outside of work,
Yeah.
I couldn't hold a relationship together because I didn't want that pain. I didn't want a relationship to go as far as that because I didn't want things to happen like that.
Yeah.
Starting to protect yourself and
Absolutely, you know. But at that when you're in that moment, you don't think it like that.
No,
you just
you don't.
think, I just sabotaged a lot of stuff.
aye,
because
you're
you
just
know,
telling yourself this isn't right. Aye,
not for
I
me,
don't feel
and-
right, and
Aye.
that's it. I'm not
and
going
I
to
would-
go any deeper
I
than
would
that.
deliberately sabotage it rather than sit down and having a mature conversation. I would just
Yeah.
drink. I would just go missing. I would just do things that to get the other person at the point of going, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know, you can almost sabotage it by being a bam. So that was very difficult. I always look back at it and think that was my lowest point. You know, until recently. But it was cumulative. It isn't an individual thing, you know. But
Yeah.
people perhaps now are only understanding that. So,
Definitely, I think the NHS have just recently started to do a thing where it's almost getting to the point where they're understanding that things like stress, like they're doing it with stress, where there's only so much a person can take before it tips.
Absolutely.
But if you have the same, so say somebody else has the same 5 or 6 things happen to them, but they deal with them individually, none of them will be as bad as what you're talking about. This whole sort of like filling the bucket until eventually it just spews out.
It's a
over.
wee bit like, you know, I kind of say it now when I talk to people. It's a wee bit like, you know, you get these pressure cookers,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to release the steam now and again. But if you don't release the steam, the whole thing's just going to explode. And you know, there was only so often that so many things that you could take. So for about 7 years, I pissed about. You know, my career was going up, but private life was
Yeah.
terrible. But that was okay because, you know, the facade, as long as my work was okay, as long as I could present a
And you were
facade.
concentrating on the one good thing and
Aye,
ignoring all the rest.
right. I was career driven because, again, it's like that childhood thing. Football, it's work, it's whatever. I've got something, I've got a purpose. As long as I turn up my work, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And it was. And then everything kind of really started to fall apart again in 2013, and it was on the 29th of November 2013, and that was the night where me and my mate Tam were in the Clutha bar when the helicopter unfortunately crashed into it. And I remember that night like it was last night. I still remember it. I remember everything, sight, sounds, people. It's absolutely imprinted in my brain. And but to this day, I believe I was meant to be there to help people. You know, I'm not the type of person that would be, oh, what if I just went around the corner and went somewhere else, or went to the Scotia instead of the Clutha? I believe I was meant to be there to help the people that I helped, and I'm comforted by that. But I walked out without a scratch, absolutely without a scratch, and it was like an invisible line had been drawn. I was here, the person next to me there wasn't here. You know, it's just, there's no way of explaining it other than I would just say it's like an invisible line. Everybody to this side of the line physically is okay. Everyone to that side of the line is no. And so I'm happy with what I did. I don't have thoughts of could have, would have, should have done it. I know I've done everything that I could have done. I helped people and all of that stuff. And
also know, obviously Tam as well.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of my in-laws, and I remember obviously, you know, the night that it all happened and getting word that Tam and his mate, as I knew you then,
sure.
were involved, and remember going, so what's happening? Are they all right? And they went, the two of them went back in, and I was just like, okay, like why? And they're like, because they just did, and you're like, you know, I'd love to think that I'd have done the same, but you know, I couldn't say that I would. You know what I mean? Like, so fair play to you in that respect, because that's horrific, and then to actually go back in is, I just can't get my head around it.
The biggest thing for me were having to live with, had I know went back in, that would have been a lot harder for me to live with. And I know Tam's been my mate for 25 years or whatever, and the two of us have got a lot of similarities in our nature. And you know, this isn't about bigging us up, but there just wasn't a second thought in it. People needed help, you helped them, and I always remember saying that's the rules. If somebody needs help, you help them. And you know, I've avoided any thanks or anything like that because I just like to think everybody would have done the same. Had I been trapped under a bar or something like that, somebody would have helped me. I know somebody would have helped me.
So is that, you know, feeling that way about how you conduct yourself, is that something that when you have confronted the trauma has actually been useful to you?
Well, I mean, what happened after that, the 2013 Clutha event is a real mark for me, as it is for everyone who was there and all the emergency services. You know, you can't just ignore it. But within a year, I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Yep.
Within a year, I was extremely suicidal. I was very difficult to live with. And I got diagnosed in October 2014 with PTSD.
So that's a whole year later,
A
practically.
year later. And the first thing I said when I got the diagnosis was, I don't want anybody to know. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want to tell my doctor. Sorry, my GP. I don't want my wife to know. I don't want my work to know. I don't want anybody to know. I never even told Tam. Nobody knew because I was embarrassed. I know it sounds silly.
Not at all.
Embarrassed.
No, not at all.
On this side of the
No.
journey, you go,
Aye.
why did I ever know?
Aye.
On that
No,
side
I
of
know,
the journey,
I
it's the
just
biggest thing of the whole.
I'm not embarrassed about what I've got. I'm not in any way about it. But back then, I just thought, I'll bury it. I'll just absolutely bury it, and I'll just somehow I'll get better.
Aye.
You know, I'll get better because I've overcame a murder. I've overcame all these other things. Something will click in my head, and I'll get better.
It will just go away. I'll ignore it and
I'll
I'll go
bury
away.
it. Everybody will forget. Nobody knows about it. It's the only person that knows about it.
Yep.
It's me. So, and I'll live with it. It's okay. And then a month later, I was on holiday, and my wife says to me, "See, just when you look at yourself, it looks like you've got a lump in your throat." But I knew I had a lump in my throat. I just never said. And I always going to say it's a bit like aftershave. See, when you put aftershave on, you don't smell your own aftershave. So when you see something not right in your body, you kind of just go, okay.
Or like a physical lump, or
Physical
like, right,
lump.
so I was
Yeah.
thinking like tears, like a lump in your throat, like,
No, there was
You had like
a tumour
right,
in my throat, and you know, it's when you go to the doctors and you're doing that stereotypical thing where I'll go to the doctors, but you know you're not going to go to the doctors because we don't want, you know, as blokes don't want to go. So eventually gave in, but I knew if I went to the doctors that there was a lump in my throat, there was something there, that
potential bad news.
potential bad news. I didn't want to know. So I went, and my doctor loved it. You know, he thought it was so unique. You know, he thought he was going to get to sell it in the British Medical Journal and all of that sort of stuff.
Oh,
so
really?
he was,
Aye.
"Oh, I've never seen this before. This is really rare," and blah blah blah. And I'm saying, but
It's nice
just
when
tell
we
me what it is.
get excited about somebody being sick.
He's excited, and I'm
Maybe
thinking,
dial it down a wee bit.
the more excitement he's got, the more fear I've got, you know. And I'm thinking, if this is so unique, it's definitely no good. It's no unique good, it's unique bad.
Aye.
So anyway, got up to the Royal, and started my work, took an hour off work, went up to the Royal, and the consultant away was saying, you know, we need to take a biopsy. I shouldn't bother. I didn't know what a biopsy was. I didn't have a clue. And all of a sudden I'm in a gown and he's taking bits out of a lump and all of that sort of stuff. And I went back to my work. I know,
Wow.
and it's just, it's like, you don't know, it's just what it is.
Just
you know?
an
Aye,
automatic
it's just-
response.
Aye, well, I've had
Aye.
that done, so now I go and do my job. So I get paid for and all of that. So, and I always believe that my job is to help people. So I want to do it, you know. So, you know, you've got that waiting time. A few weeks later, got a phone call for a GP. It's inconclusive. We think it might be cancer. You're going to have to get an operation and remove this tumour from your throat. You can imagine, you know, you hear, you know, I know more people survive cancer now than ever, but still when you hear those words, you think, you know, so, but I did again the thing that I know you shouldn't do. To everyone outwardly, I was saying, I don't have cancer, I'm fine. I know I'm fine. I'm all right. So to my wife, I'm saying, don't worry, don't want you to worry. To my mum, everybody else, I'm saying, I don't have it. I don't have it. I know I don't have it. But when the lights go out at night, you're in your own head, you're thinking about your, you know, the tunes you want for your funeral and all of that stuff. And you're thinking, right, I need to make a list of who pays the bills, who, you know, who we've got gas and electricity with for a wife and all of that. But I got myself ultra fit. I mean, I was running around Hugginfield Loch like Forrest Gump, and I was lifting weights, like, you know, and I was trying to get myself fit because I thought, see if I get fit, I'll be back at my work in no time. So they took me in. I always remember it was a Monday morning. I was meeting to be there at 9 o'clock in Garton Naval. I was there for 7, ready to go. I was saying to my missus, I'll be out later on. I'll be out, just I'll phone you later on. And just, you're kidding yourself on. No, I'm telling you, I'll be out later on, positive mind and all of that. So they removed the tumour. The consultant came in the afternoon and told me that they'd removed a tumour the size of an orange and removed half my thyroid as well. And I was a bit like, just
Whoa.
your expression as well is exactly what I was like. I
How
thought,
much could you see? I take it
Not
you must
much.
have just
It
a
was
wee
all
tiny
just-
end of it.
I was just kind of felt a wee bit like a muscles thing, and I would just push it back in, and you know, just,
Right.
I thought everybody had it. I didn't know it was not what you have, you know. And he said it was right into my throat, and they'd taken away half the thyroid as well. And I was like, anybody, so can I get him? You know, he said, I hear you've been up and about, and I was pretending, you know, I was up and
Yeah.
about. And he said you can go home. So I was out that night, and I was back at work in 10 days. Knowing that I
That's
shouldn't-
incredible,
knowing
man.
that I shouldn't have been.
That's wild.
It was folly. It was just stupid. But again, it was just this persona.
Sounds like the
thinking-
work was the only coping mechanism
It
you
was.
had that entire time. So
And
I
that's
can
exactly
get why
what it
you're
was.
exactly, you know, desperate to get back.
It's a crutch.
Yeah.
It's my crutch. So that all happened in the first year. In 2015, I was just trying to put it all behind me. Sorry, I should have said a couple of days before Christmas in in December 14, went up to the consultant for the news, and they said that it was all clear, just to go back and get regular
Yeah.
checks. They've no idea where it came from or why it happened. But knowing what I know now, I think it's just a manifestation of all the trauma.
That's what I was going to say, man. The amount of things that, I mean, I'm at uni just now studying counselling skills, but to go into like become a therapist, and the amount of stuff that I'm reading where it's like stress, cortisone, stress hormone in your body causes cancer, and people have just waking up to this thing. And as soon as you said that, I was just thinking to myself, this has been stress. It's caused this guy's cancer. and
When
it's-
I went to the doctor after it to ask for, am I doing something that caused that or whatever? And he just basically said to me, it falls under the category of shit happens, mate. We don't have an answer for you.
Aye.
And I knew then that I think it's a culmination of all of the traumatic events from childhood, that my body's just always fighting this fear. It's manifested somehow in a tumour. I don't know the biology behind it all, but it's just what I think.
Yeah.
So I still, got into 2015, just flung myself into work and came home from work one night, and it was like a 14-hour day, nothing different than that. Came home, went to the toilet, blacked out, smacked my head off something, I don't know what it was. Blacked out, came round, burst my head open, and Doug's licking the blood off my head, and my missus is screaming, so she had a thump. So it was a night, the football was on that night, and I'm sure Rangers were playing, and my missus had phoned NHS 24, take him to the hospital, he's blacked out, take him there. And I'm sure they just thought, guy's been at the football,
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for that, and you see what you see and you make a judgment on it. They glued me up, threw me out, no X-rays or anything like that. And again, I don't blame them. I'm sure they're just
Yeah.
thinking there's more serious than that. So went back to work the next morning. Had a meeting with the chief exec and the other directors. Need to blow their arse, you know. It was like just all right.
Fainted. So
I
you
was
were
just
all
saying,
right.
oh, blacked out. Don't know what happened. All right, no bother. And I'm putting a face on it, but it's an organisation. They should have been sitting going, you've been on a Clutha, you've that tumour
Yeah.
last
You've had
year,
cancer,
now you've had this.
and you're you're blacking out. Aye,
You know,
definitely. Somebody should have had an
somebody's got to
alarm
say-
bell going off.
Penny should be dropping.
So that was 2015. And then in 2016, my wife gave birth to a wee boy. So that was a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
But for 9 months, as you can imagine, with what had happened in the previous relationship with twins and stuff, and that was kind of fearful. But
And just the
the
stress of pregnancy as well.
Aye,
Do you know what I
absolutely,
mean?
and-
Just the normal feels, the
Yeah.
the
I was
day-to-day.
scared of becoming a father. Absolutely scared of becoming a father. What if I replicated stuff from my childhood to my son? You know, I was bottling it.
It's a terrifying
you know?
thought.
I didn't want to be the father to him the way my father was to me, and I know I've got the ability to change that. But you know, back then you think, what
Yeah.
if it's ingrained? What if I can't? What if I'm
genetic.
going to be a bad and
Aye.
I can't take it? So, but everything's great. You know, he's 2.5 now, and everything's great. But the next traumatic event after that was the 1st of April 2017. And I was in an Asda car park up in Rob Royston. And if you're familiar with it, there's a pedestrian crossing kind of halfway up that you go from one car park to the
Yeah.
sports gym and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So I stopped to let this young boy and his dad cross. And I'm just watching them cross the road. And out of nowhere, car comes into the side of me, just smashes into the side of me. And didn't see it coming because it's side on. I'm watching
Yeah.
the front, and I'm stationary
Aye.
anyway, so there's nothing I can do. And I get out, and it's just an elderly guy in the car. And my concern mostly was he was all right, you know, it's a
Yeah.
bit of metal and all that. Sorted a few things out, but I knew from that moment I wasn't right. You know, I had shooting pains just below my left ear.
Yep.
I was extremely dizzy. Went in and got my shopping.
You
You
went
know,
into Asda
I
after
went
you were
into
in a car,
Asda.
a car
I
smashed
went
into
to
you.
Asda, got my shopping. It's nuts, you know.
Aye.
It's
If you want
it's
a
clear.
superhero, you're
Aye, man.
Aye, it's
superpowered
like,
with
oh,
denying,
right, I can
you
do
know.
this. And then within 4 days, I went to the doctor. Took an hour off work to go to the doctor, and doctor says to me, you need to get yourself the Royal. You're showing all the signs of having a stroke.
Wow.
Your eyes are all over the place. You've got this pain at the neck. It's not like a neck pain. It was just like
Was it in the
blood
artery?
vessels, and it was
No.
like something just wasn't it like a sore neck. It was like
You could feel it inside.
you know, your blood vessels were bursting. It was just a feeling. It was just a horrible feeling.
Aye.
And I was constantly dizzy. I was going into the shower and stuff, and I haven't had the walls. And eventually, I gave in. I thought I need to go to the doctors with this, and he got me up to the hospital. And I was a world worst patient. I was saying, I'm not staying here. I'm all right. Get me out, let me out, and all that, you know. Because I thought they're going to know something's wrong. I'm not going to be able to bluff them, you know. And I need to get back to my work. And that's the embarrassing thing for me, you know. I'm a bit emotional, but you want to say it, but my priority was to get back to my work, not my 8-month-old son. You know, that was, you know, I'm getting found out in the house because I'm aware of place, but I'm not getting found out in work. They're
Yeah.
not paying any
Aye,
attention to me. They're not saying that I'm aware of place, or they are, and they're not caring. But I was begging the hospital to let me out. So they ran all sorts of testing and they were keeping me in for an MRI. I was protesting. I wasn't even wanting to get into the gown, and you know. So eventually they said, if you sign yourself out, we're going to phone the cops, because if you drive, we're going to say you're at risk.
You're a
to
danger yourself, yeah.
and I
Fair
totally
enough, I
understand
suppose.
that. Aye, but I felt blackmailed. I felt that I was staying there under false pretense.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I apologise to everyone in the hospital at the time. They were doing the right thing. It was me that was trying to get out of some kind of
Aye.
treatment, you know. So, so they kept me on overnight, and at that point, that was one of my biggest fears, was having to stay in hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that was my biggest fear. So the next morning, I begged them to let me out. I woke up at the crack of dawn, made my bed, got dressed, and they came and said to me that MRI machine wasn't going to be free till the following week. I was going to be kept in for
the week?
For the next week. And
Wow.
I ultimately begged them, saying, like, please let me out. And they let me out the Friday afternoon. Too late to go to my work, I had to say, so I went to work on Friday.
They seen you
I'll just
coming
stay
on
for the
that one.
weekend.
I went to work on Monday, and I'm ashamed to say I drove to work on Monday, and I drove to work all week, and I told my work I shouldn't be driving, but that was where my priorities were at that point in time, you know. Anyway, went for MRI, And got the all clear, but again, it's just the unexplainable of why are you having these dizzies, why what's happening. So April 17 began my breakdown, really. And from that moment on, things got very, very difficult for me. I was struggling big time. And basically, it was like a set of dominoes. When I was recalling the bang of the car crash, I was recalling the bang of the Clutha. So it was like car crash, Clutha. And then that led me to the unfortunate people who didn't survive, and the images that I seen in the Clutha led me to then the next picture would be having to identify my father's body in the morgue. The next part was that I turned 48 last year. My father was murdered when he was 48. So it was just like a perfect storm. I found it.
A nice trigger for you.
It was just... So I systematically went about looking for help, but in all the wrong ways. I didn't know how to ask for help.
Yeah.
I didn't know... I wasn't brave or courageous enough to actually ask somebody for help. So I went about messing up my private life, and I went about messing up my professional life, because my belief was that the more badly behaved I am at work, the better chance that my boss is going to say to me, stop.
Aye, we need
You
help.
need help. You need help. You've been through so many events. I know about the murder, I know about all that stuff, and you're acting out of character. You need help.
Yeah.
And, I was just going off the rails at home. So that culminated in January of this year. And in January of this year, my boss took me in. And I thought, here we go, here's the help coming. And he sat me down and ultimately suspended me for my behaviour.
Okay.
So I begged him to help me and not punish me. And no, he continued to suspend me and sent me and asked me to report back to the office in a couple of days' time for a formal hearing. So I told him I had PTSD, and knowing what I know now, that should never have happened. He was aware I had a mental health illness, and I should never have been taken into a disciplinary hearing with it.
100% no.
But so he took me in, and I made the decision the night before to tell him everything that I've just told you guys.
Yep.
Up until that point, I'd never told Andy all of these things. Tam knew of them, but never in one whole body.
Aye.
Almost like, well, that's happened. But when you put them all together.
Yeah.
So I went in the night before, I spoke to my wife and made a conscious decision that I was just going to tell him everything, because I'm not ashamed of it. I need help.
Yeah.
So I told him, and him and the HR director were there, and I explained everything to him, that I was suicidal. I had been in contact with the Samaritans and various other agencies just to try and keep myself going. And my behaviour was all about a cry for help. And his words to me were, I don't know why all of those things that have happened made you act that way. That's exactly what he said and did to me. And you remain suspended. And that in itself became a massive traumatic trigger event for me. Because the first guy, it could have been a woman, but it was a man and a woman, that opened up to dismiss me almost and say, well, we don't understand it.
It's not an excuse for this behaviour,
When
almost.
it's a clear reason why I'm behaving the way I'm.
You're telling them that, though. This is the main thing, is that you're telling them this is why I'm doing this. So,
And they're saying to me, you've done this. And I've said, I've done that. But listen, I've done loads more. And I've done loads more. So why are you pulling me for this when I've done all of these things? And I've done all of these things as a cry for help. I was missing deadlines. I was argumentative at meetings. I brought one of the girls who was a manager for me into my office. And I was a bastard there. I had her in tears. And then when she got upset, I told her to get out of my office and go and dry her eyes. And that's not me.
No.
And as soon as I'd done that, I went to my boss and told him, I've just done this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
was it a conscious sort of thing that you were doing, or was it something that was happening that you didn't have real control over what you were doing, but you know now, you understand it now?
I understand it a
hindsight?
lot better now. I think at the time, I didn't care of the consequences. So I was reckless. I was needing help, and I didn't care what I did to get that help.
Yeah.
I know that I needed somebody to stop me. It's almost like that, things in the past, you get to a lowest point and you really want somebody to say, stop.
Aye.
Or come on, we need to go and pay a visit to somebody or something like that.
Definitely.
And I just needed somebody to say to me, stop. You don't have to take a week off, or you need to go to a counsellor, you need to go and do something, or we recognise that your behaviour is so out of character.
Yeah.
And during the conversation, once he suspended me, I asked for a private conversation with him, and he admitted to me that he'd known that my behaviour had been different since the previous October. he'd noticed various things and done nothing about it. And it very much felt to me that they had wanted to give me enough rope to get rid of me.
Yeah.
rather than actually doing the
Then
problem.
actually try and deal with the complex issues that come out of it, providing the
Subsequently,
help
he's
that you
denied ever
require.
having that conversation, but I suppose he's got to, because if he acknowledges that I told him I had CPTSD
That's it.
back then, all the subsequent actions should never have happened. So basically, at that point, I was suspended. As I've said, my coping mechanism, or as you've said, my coping mechanism was my work, and to have that taken away from me was
Yeah. Pretty
extremely distressful.
debilitating, I'd imagine.
First phone call I made when I came out of that office that day was to the Samaritans, because I was picking the bridge that was going off.
Yeah.
I picked the railway line that I was going in front of. I picked the tree that I thought might hold my weight. You know, I was in a terrible state, and I knew I had to. I knew I had to try and get by. I knew I had to survive the next day and the next day, but it was difficult. And that's really where everything just came to a head for me in January this year, and seeking help, and everything has really just happened as a consequence of that.
Cool. And so in terms of, you were saying, obviously you use guys like the Samaritans and stuff like that. Where did your sort of recovery go for there?
See, before we get into the recovery, man, I just want to say thanks for sharing that,
Yeah.
by the way, because it's an incredible story, but it takes, and I know this myself, it takes serious amount of balls to sit down. We don't know each other, to just sit down and go, here's what I've been through, man. So you're so brave to just be able to share that with people, man, and I've got a lot of just instant admiration for you that you can do that, man.
I appreciate you saying that. Right? The thing for me was that when I told my boss that day, I felt like my world had ended, because the first guy you open up to, or the first people you open up to, just don't want to understand. So I was devastated that even on a human level, forget the corporate level where you've got to be a boss and all that, I begged the man for help. I knew I needed help, and I didn't care how he punished me, but I knew I needed help. And they're meant to offer counselling service. I begged them for help, and as a man, or even as a female, as a human being, you don't want to beg. And I begged that man for help, and he had no interest in helping me. So I was lower than low, leaving that office that day, because I thought the first person I've really asked for help. So I knew I was in a bad place, and I phoned GAMH and said, look, I really need help. I phoned my GP, said, look, it'll be Thursday before we can see you. And I thought, fuck, how am I going to get through the next few days?
You're in a crisis moment.
Aye, and no disrespect to all the agencies, I've never been involved with anything. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have a clue where to go.
Yep.
But a GAMH lady had told me there was an organisation called Turning Point, who just come out of who are in the West End,
Yep.
who are on a group on a Wednesday night. And I thought, if I can get you Wednesday night, then I can talk to somebody then, So I went in, and, like anything else, you need to be brave walking in that door, because it's total strangers. With all due respect, it's the same with you guys,
Yeah.
So I knew going along to that, it's killer cure, because I've tried to talk to somebody on Monday and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
But maybe I just need help, so I'll do anything to survive till Thursday. And I thought going there on a Wednesday night would see me through to Thursday morning to get my GP. And I went, and ended up in a wee small group with 5 people. And it came to me, and I just thought, fuck it, I just need to tell this story. I need to get it out. I need to just get it out of me again. And I was blubbering, I was crying, I was breaking down. And I'm not ashamed of it,
Not
it's just
at all.
complete strangers. But, I just had
Sounds
to get
as
it
though
out
there's a
of me,
reasonable chance that's the first time you ever did that for any of that stuff.
It was, aye.
You know what I mean?
It's the second time I'd ever told it, but obviously in a work environment, in that work environment,
Still
I was having a physiological effect. I was, I know I'm doing it now, but it was a lot worse then, because you're dealing with people who are, oppressive towards you. But I was having flashbacks as it's only natural, but I was in a bad place. But I thought, I'll go in a Wednesday night. Maybe I'll meet some other people who've been through some stuff, and I can get a common bond and stuff like that. And I went to Wednesday night, and as I said, I was crying. I couldn't hold it in. And I went every week, and I still go. I was there as recently as last Wednesday before the Christmas shutdown, and I still go, and they helped me. It helped me because I could sit with people. And although nobody could really understand or relate as such, I could relate to them, because I could, if someone had depression or whatever, I could think, I think I've had that all these years. I just never knew I'd had it, because I was burying my head. So I thought that went well. I went to my GP on the Thursday. He diagnosed me with, he already knew I had PTSD by this point, with depression and anxiety on top of it as well. And I felt stigmatised right away. I felt embarrassed. I came out of the doctors and I was in tears.
Yeah.
Because to me, I had this persona to live up to, big, strong guy, confident. I put on this facade. If you'd known me back then, everyone always said, oh, he's always got a smile and always looks like that. Just a front.
Yep.
Because inside I'm sitting thinking, I hope nobody talks to me because I don't know what to say. I don't think I can have a conversation. So I'll just smile and it's a lot of shite.
Yeah.
But inside I'm terrified that somebody's going to talk to me because I think, I don't know what to say. I'm the least confident guy in the world. But if you smile and you shave and you get your hair cut, people think, oh, you're all right.
I've
When it
experienced
goes,
something quite similar to that, and I think in reflection, I've felt that it's been less that is how I put it through my head, is that I can't relate to MD here, and I can't hold conversations, and I don't know why people like me. But really what it is for me was that I didn't want to get into conversations with people just in case I met that person that just got under my skin and just managed to because as soon as that wee chink in your armour went, I knew that it was just all going to come flooding out. I didn't know, but I knew that that's what it was. Do you know what I mean?
I can relate to that, Paul. And every year, me and my mates go to Benidorm for in March, and I think it might have been 2 years ago. I didn't go this year because as part of my suspension, I'm not allowed to see my best mate Tam.
Okay.
So I never went on holiday with him because if I was to see him, he would be disciplined for being in contact with
What
me.
load of shite that is, man. Fucking hell.
Well, when you think that the two have been in a Clutha and with each other's support network, to be deprived of that has been a disgrace. But we're standing in a pub last year, standing in a pub, and somebody out of nowhere, just in a crowd of boys, said, that helicopter flew over my house. What helicopter are you talking about? That one in the Clutha. I burst into tears. It wasn't even on my radar. It's not like it was part of a conversation. It
Came
was
out of
just
nowhere.
somebody mentioned it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he told me what it was. I burst into tears, and I ran into the toilet, thinking, "Oh man, I'm going to fall apart here."
Yeah.
It's as you said, it's that one thing that gets under, and then you think my whole wall is going to fall down here, and if it starts to fall down, I don't know if I can rebuild it. So moving back to this year, I then found myself desperate to try and get help. My GP had referred me to for psychological treatment. But I was told that was going to be a considerable wait, obviously. So I found
What's the
myself-
NHS waiting list for things like that?
14 weeks minimum. Their target is to have some sort of referral acknowledged within 14 weeks.
It's a disgrace to me.
I don't have anything against the MD.
No, it's
at
not
that point in
individuals.
time-
It's
no,
nothing
no.
to do with an individual, is it?
Aye,
Or a
just that's the
GP, or
system.
that's just the system, and it's
At that
bigger
point
than
in
any
time,
individual.
I didn't know it was 14 weeks at that point in time. I just know it now. But I was a round peg in a square hole, or a square peg in a round hole. I was desperate to get help. I contacted a few agencies. I contacted victim support. I went to see them out in Hamilton. And I got referred to this organisation called PETAL, and it was people affected by trauma and loss.
Okay.
Again, out in Hamilton. And I met their psychologist. Just basically, it was just, because all these triggers were going off my head, the Clutha, my dad's murder. I was a wreck. And he sat me down, met him quite a few times, and he was trying his best. He sent a note to my employer saying, "This guy's got, I think what he called it was some form of PTSD, but basically meaning high functioning PTSD, which means he was capable of coming into work and still functioning, but outside of that." And around about March of this year, I contacted Dan from Burrows and Arms.
Yep.
Just it's a strange thing, but I went up to my mummy's one Sunday, and she said to me, "I heard this guy on the radio. He set up an organisation trying to stop men from completing suicide. You might want to check him out." And I did. I contacted him through his website, and I've been an ambassador for them ever since. And I found it useful that when I was going into environments to talk to people, I was very suicidal, but at least engaging with other people who might have the same thing.
Yeah.
It's quite cathartic, because the biggest problem is, most of the time, is that you're scared of being judged and you think you're alone.
Yeah.
And you think you're the only person that's having all these thoughts. And then when you sit with somebody and they can say, "I've not got all that, but I can totally relate to suicidal thoughts and stuff like that."
Yeah.
So I've done that. And then I really hit a low point in May this year where I cut my grass and hate cutting my grass. Right? It's a big fear. I just hate cutting it. But it's because of my compulsive nature. If I do it, it's got to be like Wimbledon. It's got to be perfect, and I can't do it perfect, so I'm a failure. So I cut my grass within an inch of its life, front and back. Cleared out the garage, cleared out every cupboard, made the house look perfect over that weekend, because I knew on Wednesday I was going to commit suicide. I planned it. My boy goes to his grand's on a Wednesday. I thought, right, that's it. I'd stockpiled 20, 30 boxes of paracetamol. That was my last resort, because I don't really want to do it that way.
Yeah.
But if all else failed, at least I could have a bottle of Jack Daniels and just thank myself and take all them. And I didn't know it then, but I know it now, that basically it's classic symptoms of making sure everything's clean, tidy, that way your conscience is clear, as silly as that sounds to some people. But basically my thought was, I'll make sure the house looks great, because when the police come up and tell my missus, if, I've committed suicide, or when people come up to visit, the house looks all right. She doesn't have to worry about that. I know.
It's such a strange thought, isn't it?
Aye.
But it's so common.
My priority was make sure the house is fine when I'm not here. So I'd set it, I went to bed on a Tuesday night. I was the happiest I'd been, because I knew that the pain was going to leave me the next morning. I wasn't going to be in pain. And now I know I've been in pain. I'm 49. I just think I've been in pain for 49 years through abuse and through all those things. And that Tuesday night I went to bed happy. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. I'm happy that I'm going to bed and I want to die the next day, but it was the ending of the pain. It was more important than anything else. And when people talk about suicide, and you hear some people saying, it's a really selfish thing to do, believe me, you'll do anything to get rid of that pain. And so I woke up the next morning, happy. My wife got a text message from her mum saying, I can't watch the wee guy today. I've been up during the night, I'm not well. Can Michael just watch him? And that changed everything for me, because all my plans had changed. And I knew I wasn't going to date him in a wee guy, as much as you want to do it, you want to do it in the right circumstances, I wouldn't do that with my boy, so, which is absurd, because you want to leave him to live his whole life without you, but you don't want to do something.
Yeah.
But it's the very clear thinking at that point in time. And I knew from that moment on, I was in a bad place. I was living an hour at a time. I was going from 10 o'clock to 11, 11 to 12. But, I was waiting for the psychological help that I needed, and that came. Thankfully, that came. I got a letter asking me to go to the Glasgow Psychological Trauma Centre, which is a specialist unit out in Kinnan Park, who specialise in complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and I didn't know that at the time, and survivors of the Clutha.
Okay.
So I've landed in the right place, so I went there for an assessment, and the assessment normally would happen in one session, but it took them 2 sessions to carry out the assessment, just because of the amount of stuff, and ultimately they diagnosed me with complex PTSD. And I was happy, because I had something tangible that me being me, I could go and buy a book about it, I could go and research it,
and I was fighting there.
I knew, right, and I'm looking at things and Googling it, because everybody Googles it when you find it. And you see all these classic behaviours, and you think, fuck,
This
that's what I've been doing for all these years.
This is my life I'm reading about here.
Aye, and I bought a book by a guy called Pete Walker, My Journey Through My Surviving and Thriving Through PTSD or CPTSD. And honestly, it was like the guy was reading my life story.
Yeah.
And I read it and I thought, magic, I'm no unique. There are people out there who
definitely
have some of the things that I've got, or one of them or something. But I felt glad that I'd been diagnosed, I know that. It doesn't it sounds silly, but I came away thinking, brilliant, I can at least research it now, and I can understand why I'm me,
of course,
that makes sense, so.
Term you use pretty regularly through the book, that explaining why I am me. It's something that kind of resonated with me quite a bit. So in terms of like the self-help and the research and the Googling and stuff, is this where the book came from? Because it doesn't sound as if you had, a lot of writing in the past or any of that kind of stuff.
I've never written anything in my life before. And it actually came about, a lot of things happened in May, the diagnosis and stuff like that. I wasn't in a good place and I got diagnosed, and it was actually a support group meeting, Time Out Scotland, the Wednesday night. And on that Wednesday, I was in the house and I wasn't in a good place. And I had an urge to write something down.
Yeah.
I've never written anything in my life. I came to school in 1986 and had a B for English. I
Yeah.
didn't get any hires, you know, I've got a qualification in my job. And I wrote 2 poems then. And the first one's called The Final Chime. The second
Yep.
one is called Ember, and that's the first 2 poems.
That's the
in
first
book.
one.
They're the first 2 poems
And I
I
think the
wrote.
book as well, one of the things that I really felt when I was reading through it was that you've always got your 4 acts, and like having hear you tell the story in your own terms there, like the acts kind of really feel like they flow with that movement of your story. You know what I mean? Where it starts, the first ones felt to me quite dark, and then it felt as though you were going through realizations and acceptance, and and obviously sort of planning for futures and stuff like that. So it sits like just almost exactly what you've just told us in that respect. Like I really enjoyed Glasshead. So that's like, because as you were talking about your throat, and we've talked in previous episodes with guys like MOT for Men and Men's Health Plus and stuff, for guys that mental thing doesn't get the same treatment as the sort of physical side of things. Like, and that image, I wish I had a glass head so that people could see what was wrong with me, was something that like really spoke to me.
I'm
So
glad
it
that you
was.
said that, actually, because Glasshead is a catalyst for Poems from a Mod.
Right.
Nobody knows that.
Cool.
Well, the Stigma Free Lanarkshire, who's a charity that have released it,
Yep.
they're the only people that know, and Glasshead is a catalyst for all of this. Because
right.
while I was doing an event for Brothers in Arms out in Lanark, this lady from an organisation called Stigma Free Lanarkshire, all about trying to raise awareness and reduce stigma around mental health, came up and asked me about Brothers in Arms. And anyway, I started talking to her and asking her what she did, and she told me about mental health. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, because I just wrote a poem called Glasshead.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wouldn't mind saying it. And I was kind of like, oh, it's shite. It's, and that way you kind of go, oh, it's not very good and I'm embarrassed about it. And I
Yeah.
wish I'd never said it now. And she said, no, could you let me see it? So I sent her it. And she said, could you come in and see us? So I went in, and it's based in Motherwell. I went in and said, look, we really like that poem. We really like the meaning of it. As you just said, Matt, it's about if you have a physical disability or illness, people don't judge you. If you've got a twisted ankle, nobody expects you to run 100 yards.
No.
People take you for what it is and go, you're limited in your abilities, but it'll get better. And that was the premise for writing that poem, that if I had a glass head, or if we all had glass heads, and people could see the wee bit that's linked to my CPTSD, and think,
Yep.
I believe you, and don't judge me. I believe you're not great today, so that's all right. And we all wouldn't have this stigma of, okay, right, you're at it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I showed her that, and she said, look, we do this thing about recovery stories. Would you mind giving us some poems, and maybe we could see about trying to do something?
Yeah.
And the premise was that they would help people because they're recovery stories, and somebody might read them and
Yeah.
think, I can relate to that. And I said, I said, look, if you think they can do anything, on you go. And I ended up, I gave her about 22, 23 of them.
Okay.
But I never really thought anything more about it because they were just my writings. They weren't written for anyone. They were just cathartic for me, just scribbling stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd written a whole lot more, It's just
Some of them are really personal as well. I mean, it's clearly, sort of coming for you. I was also looking at obviously your social media. We'll obviously post your Twitter and various other bits and bobs and the links to the video when we go live. I've seen that you do a lot of like sort of, is it corporate speaking events and stuff like that? Or is this in relation to the book? Is this just maybe your general experiences?
It's been through Brothers in Arms,
Right.
Because my experience is quite unique. During the year there, when it was mental health awareness, or there was opportunities to raise awareness about mental health, I would go along to like Barclays Bank. I think it was Alliance Insurance. I did a talk for NHS. And a couple of weeks ago, I was along at the British Army in Edinburgh, their barracks,
that was one I seen
to
talking
raise awareness about PTSD. And in fact, they've asked me back in the new year to.
It's going to be pretty special to be then talking to veterans about that type of thing,
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
that's something that they'll have been ignored about for
Aye.
decades.
Aye.
I was honoured to be asked by the Army to come along and speak to them because, if the Army can start talking about PTSD, because I think PTSD, a lot of people just think it's a military illness, or ex-military illness, and that's the only way you get it. Clearly it's not, by some of the things I've just spoken
Absolutely
about,
not,
and people have it, perhaps just by a physical event that's happened to them on a Friday night or anything, you can get it from a whole range of things. But going to the Army was really special because if we could start to break down that stigma all about PTSD, and to say to some of the troops who were there that, look, this can happen to a civilian, it doesn't just happen to the military, but if you are, look, there's a bit of hope here, and that's basically what all my poems are about. They're about trying to provide hope to people like me that have been through or are currently going through. I know I'm in recovery. I'll be in recovery for forever because it's good days and bad days. Like like
I think
everybody.
that's the way I look at it as well. We'll always be recovering. It's never going to be.
And I'm happy. I accept that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy in my skin. I'm happier in my skin than I've been in all my life because I know what's wrong with me. But I can't change the past. But I can determine what my future's going to be, and that's really where I am at this moment in time. And Poems from a Mod and my social media stuff for me is a vehicle to say to somebody, like, this guy's been through a lot, no more than anybody else. But if they poems can make you relate to it and go, right, well, guys wrote a poem, I could maybe write a poem, or I can do whatever it is that's challenging me
That
in
expression
life.
of yourself and what you're going through. It's brilliant.
And that's all it is. It's no, it's no me being any better or thinking, I've got a book of poems and
not
all
at
that.
all.
It's only a stepping stone to help people, and if you relate to it, it's free anyway. So nobody's making any money out of it. It's on my blog, but I always post a link to Stigma Free Lanarkshire, so that people can go on their website and actually see for what it is. But it's free to download. The 4X thing came about. Well, the name came about Poems from a Mod because I'm into all the mod stuff.
Yeah.
The 4X came about because Quadrophenia
Okay.
is an X as well, and I just tried to deal with that. So I looked through all the poems I had and just tried to fit them into Act 1, where I was at my worst.
Yep.
Act 2 is when I become aware of, I've really got this illness now, this is real, and it's no the bury your head in the sand. Act 3 is when I had a summer holiday during the year, and I was terrified of going, because I thought, I'm going to end up just walking into the water and no coming back. And I had to get approval from my psychologist and my doctor and all sorts of people
Being
to
abroad
to
could
go.
be really.
But I went, and it made changes in me just seeing the sunshine, and it made me observe the world differently as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the benefits. I see the world totally differently for what I do. I hear lines or conversations or guitars or stuff like that, and that'll make me think, that's a beautiful guitar, and then that'll take me somewhere, and I might end up writing a poem, or I might think of a line, and then I don't sit down and think, I'm going to write a poem now.
Yeah.
It
Just
kind of
let it
just
happen.
floods my
It comes
brain,
to you when it
and I
does,
think,
yeah.
God, I better get my phone or I'll write a line down. So
other than like the therapy, obviously traditional to go and see it. Well, we should do more of it. Go and see therapists, but it's definitely like one of the first ports of call for mental health. Do you have any other sort of practices that you do? Like obviously, like Bidan does meditate.
that's right.
Promotes
We use the
meditation.
Thrive app. So in the early days, I was using that. I was using the meditation part of that. But because my sleep's so bad at night, I have hypervigilance, which means that when I fall asleep, I wake up 15 minutes later and I think the world's going to end, or helicopters are going to come down. I can't sleep properly. So whenever I used meditation, I would end up falling asleep, and I was quite happy to do that because it meant I could get asleep while I was doing it. So it probably wasn't designed for that, but it was a vehicle for me, and I think take whatever you can get.
It's relaxation at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So I've been doing a few things. I've doing all the things that the books tell you. I'm out running, I'm writing, I'm talking. Talking's a big thing for me.
It's the
I know
biggest
that
for
it
me.
helps me.
You
Talking
actually
to
feel the
people.
weight, don't you, when you share stuff?
It's that way that, as I said earlier, see when you talk and you know you're not going to be judged, it's the most empowering thing in the world. I know we also may be conditioned to judge people on a whole variety of things, but see when you know that you're not going to be judged, you feel free to be able to say to people, look, I'm me, I'm not embarrassed with who I am now. I don't see myself as a victim of everything that's happened in my life. I'm a survivor of everything that's happened, and I'll continue. I'm not going to commit suicide. I don't want to commit suicide. That's where I was, and every day I don't, I'm a day further away from it.
Day you've won.
I don't see my day as getting nearer to it. I see my day further away from it.
Yeah.
But I'm acutely aware I can have a bad day tomorrow. Like we all can. So I'm not any more special or less special than anybody else.
I mean, it sounds to me as that focus, that sort of, crutches you put it that you had all through your life until your sort of realisation of work has now been replaced by you working on yourself for you rather than for anybody else.
I mean, I've there's a couple of benefits. It's been an extremely stressful year with my work not giving up on me. They made it clear to me they want to discipline me. The way they treat me is a disgrace. I have to get legal advice. I've spent a fortune on legal advice just to make sure that they act appropriately with me. So that, had I just had my illness to deal with, I would be far further ahead than progress than I am just now. But having that stress and trauma of your employer being so bad towards you in this day and age, it's just a disgrace. And knowing what I know now, I'd help anybody. I know I would help anybody. And somebody was sitting across the table from me and needed help. I've got guys that presentation I did to the army. I've got guys, who after it came up and spoke to me, and I said, "Here's my number, mate. Just drop me a wee text if you just want to talk about a football, or you're having a bad day in the army, or however it works in the army.
Yeah.
And I strap my wee text at Christmas Day and stuff like that. And I think all I'm doing is just doing what people would do. I know people help me, and if I can help people by writing poems, or even running a support group that I run on a Thursday night, anyway, I'll help them do. And my employment is just a side issue just now that will need to be resolved at some point in the future, and hopefully it will. But right here, right now, I'm just trying to keep myself alive, and if I can do this and it helps other people, then that's the reward for me. I'm not looking for anything out of it, and other than, as I said, if somebody takes something for it and thinks,
Yeah. And I don't see how they
poem
can. Say, we'll get all the links up.
We've passed through it anyway.
sorry,
that's
guys,
up on the-
sorry.
No, not
No,
at all, mate.
not at
Like,
all, man.
it's one of these ones we need to actually sort of watch ourselves with, or else we just sit here and talk all night.
sorry,
So,
I didn't realise.
I was wondering what he was saying there. So
I was just meaning, did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
Well, I've got plenty more that I want to talk about, but we just don't have the time to do it, man. I'm incredibly grateful for you coming on and telling your story, man. Like, even just for me to hear it, never mind going out and maybe other people listening. What an incredible story, man. Like, I can't thank you enough for it. It's brilliant. I'll put my hands up and say that I've no read like the blog or the book. I'm going to sit down and read the book pretty much as soon as I get a day off work, and I'm going to go on the blog and have a bit. I thank you very much for coming on, man.
Aye, Michael. And anytime you've got anything to promote in future, feel free to hit us up, man. You're welcome back anytime.
I totally appreciate that. And can I just say thanks very much for inviting me along, and it's been a privilege to meet you guys and to give me an opportunity to kind of
No
share a
worries.
bit of hopefully.
Did well with your first one.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
Catch you next time.